Welcome everyone to Everydayman.net, the everyday conversation for the everyday man. I'm your host, Kadari Hicks, and I'm here with a special guest, Big L. Man, what's going on?
Oh man, what's going on?
Man, nothing much. Yeah, we have an exciting
About you?
show. What you say? What you?
I said happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yeah, it's good. It's a Friday, man. The weekend here. It's the weekend here, and that's what people be they look for that weekend. Get to release some stress and have a good time. A lot of people go partying. Spend time with your family, things like that. Like I was just saying, we have an exciting show for you today. And as you can tell, no Jay, no Kenneth, I got Big L here. And we had a few things we wanted to talk about. But before we get into it, you can always find us on our website at everydayman.net. You also find us on SoundCloud, iTunes at Everydayman Podcast. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions for any of us, including Big L, who we have on the show today, you can email us at everydaymanpod@gmail.com. So what's going on with you, man?
Oh man, life is good, man. Enjoying this Friday, this South Carolina heat.
Hey, man, look here.
That's what it does in July.
Man, I went outside earlier and I got in my car and they said it was 107 degrees outside. I, I said, I can't be out here alone. Trust me. I went out, did what I had to do,
Right,
brought my ass right back home. Man,
right.
it's crazy.
My thermostat said one thing, but it felt like something totally different.
Hey,
So
I'm telling you.
that heat index is real.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And it's crazy, man. This heat. So if you out there in the heat, people, man, please make sure you stay hydrated. Anybody need to be passing out. And I'm outside. I'm driving right. And you always see that one person, maybe two, who always got pants and boots on. No matter how hard it is outside, it always one person, maybe two.
Always
I'm talking
makes
jean
me feel
down,
uncomfortable.
right? Jean jacket, jean pants, boots, Timberlands. Like,
It never fails.
yeah, I'm like, come on, trust me. There's other ways to look cool in the summer besides we ain't got them boots.
Right.
Right.
Man, them things should have been retired back in April.
I'm telling you, who you telling? I haven't put mine on in a minute, but on today's show, I know, I want to throw something at you real quick because I know we didn't speak of this on offline, and I ran across it, and the reason I didn't tell you is I want your genuine reaction on this, right? And I ran across Tyler Perry coming out with another Medea movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this here, but he doing like I didn't even see the last one. I think it was like Medea's like Halloween or something.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I kind of retired from the Tyler Perry, especially the Medea movies. I mean, if I
Right.
guess he's going back to the bread and butter.
Right. See, and that's what it is. I think this is supposed to be part two of that movie. I didn't even see it, but
Oh, really?
yeah,
So it's a sequel.
it's a sequel. Supposedly they
Oh,
they make
wow.
they supposed to make a lot of money. You know, and I want to get your thought on this here because um with Tyler Perry I ain't gonna lie, in the beginning I used to watch the plays and things, right? I used to watch the plays. That was back then when it was on like the bootleg DVDs and things like that. When he
Right.
when he when he first started off, and it was actually kind of funny. But
Right.
but after he got his success and everything, now it kind of seemed like it just all about the money. Uh,
All about the money.
and that's kind of like that's where I think that's where it's at right now. See now, like it's about the money. But do you think he's taking it too far with these movies?
Man, Tyler Perry Bender took it too far when he put that dress on.
Oh,
Uh, my opinion, you know,
right.
not knocking what he does, but um, he employs a lot of black actors and actresses that we haven't seen for a long time, and he gives newcomers, you know, their first movie into the business. But personally, I just don't see what's funny about a 6'6" black man in drag. I mean, he's actually more convincing as a woman than he is as himself. I mean, that's I don't know. That's not amusing to me, but I'm not knocking it for people who get into it. But I think it has run its course. But I don't think he's doing the numbers he used to do.
Right. Now I think I totally agree with that because I mean, but that's his bread and butter, and I think it's mostly the women and not like the bash women who actually go see his stuff, but it's just the women that's keeping him afloat. Mostly, if anybody got a problem with you said, of course, I know the men go understand it if anybody because you don't want to see another man dressed up in a dress all the time.
That's right.
I mean, not saying he's not a talented guy because he is. I mean, you gotta have some kind of talent to achieve where he's, from. I think one time he was like homeless, if I'm not mistaken, and now,
Right. He has an incredible story from
right.
rags to riches, so to speak.
I mean, yeah, he does, and he go from there, then go from that to where he is now. But it's kind of and I just want to go back on what you said real quick because, like you say, he do employs a lot of African Americans, a lot of black people. But the problem I actually have sometimes with him is the way he portrays us in those movies.
Exactly.
I think that's more of a problem for me. I think that's more of a problem him actually putting on the dress.
Yeah, because it's almost an insult to our intelligence. Some of the images that are put in his movies, it's and everybody always gives him a pass because, like I said earlier, he employs a lot of black actors, actresses, writers. But at the same time, at what price? When you're basically sacrificing the integrity and the imagery of black people, particularly black men.
Right. Because that's important, and not only that, because this ain't like not saying like I'm maybe bashing them, but this we just critiquing real quick. And another thing, like you notice in this movie, you always have. I mean, all of them pretty much the same way, right? You have a woman, she had a problem with her husband or whoever, then she come get saved by another man, and you know, and
Right,
and
right.
and the thing is, usually most of these movies have the darker man
He's
as
a villain.
as the villain, and
That's right.
I don't even think a lot of people actually pay that attention, or you know, or you think they even care, right? It will. I mean, 'cause you can't just look at a movie just like, oh, I just see a good movie or a comedy, but sometimes you gotta go a little further and actually look actually what's going on in it. And that's one of the main things that actually turned me off from Tyler Perry. And I'm like, because when he keep coming out with these movies here, and I'm willing to bet you it'll be a part three. It's gonna be a trilogy.
Right, and I don't know of any other sequels that he's done prior to this. So, and the whole thing about a sequel is usually terrible in comparison to the original. Very few sequels are even as good as the original.
So what happens when
With
the
that said,
right? So
you know,
what happens when the first one is bad, right? Um,
right. So what does that mean for the sequel?
is
I mean,
is based off numbers. I think the other one made a good bit of money. He made his money back and then some, maybe 4 or 5 times
right,
more. I
right,
think he made the movie for less. I knew it was at least less than 10 million. Could have been less than 5 million. They shot it within a month, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a lot less than that because most of the movies like plays anyway. They shot not too many locations, so it usually don't take that long to get them done. Um, but
true.
but when I saw it, I was kind of disappointed. Like, God damn, he doing another one. Like let it go. Cause
Uh,
cause the thing is, And I know Tyler Perry, and I want people like to listen for the ones who are listening to the show. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to bash him, but the thing is, especially at I think where we at now in society, I think we just have to when we have, and not saying he's a leader of the black community, but when you have people who look at certain ones because of status, they automatically sometimes just fall into that category, right?
Right. That's
That
true. It's
right.
almost like by default.
Right. So when you do that, you want always want to represent the culture right because you give people like Spike Lee a hard time who actually try to make certain movies that you may not like Spike Lee or what he has to say a lot of the times or even some of the movies he's made. But I mean, from what I get from Spike or other directors like Spike Lee is that they actually try to put black people and tell our stories at least, right? Make
True.
cohesive movies that we stuff things that we need to pay attention to or tell the stories our stories. And I think Hollywood gave him a hard time about it, but we have somebody like Tyler Perry, another or anybody like him who made these movies who paint us in a certain light, and it's not threatening. And now he gets all these opportunities and things like that. But like you say, he do employ a lot of African Americans, a lot of black people, which is that's always a good thing. But at what cost?
Right. Because the ultimate cost is the imagery. Imagery supersedes everything. And you said something earlier about outside of it being a good movie or funny or comedy, there's subliminals throughout every movie.
Right.
And this Tyler Perry movies are no different. Granted, his subliminals are not as probably not as complex. They're based on a lot of stereotypes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not, I would go as far even to say that if a white filmmaker were making these movies, they would probably be getting boycotted and protested by the black community.
Right. Yeah.
But because it's a black man making it, nobody questions it. Nobody has a problem with it because it's a black man making money and employing black people. But like you said, to what cost? Because the imagery of a masculine, tall black man wearing a dress and impersonating a woman, that's not an image that I care to continuously pay money to go see. You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
but some people find it funny. You said it. You said that particularly women, which that's I think most men, most black men have kind of called it quits on Tyler Perry uh, early on in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think his movies were never really for us. I think he had a target audience, and that was black women in
And
particular.
right. Right. Right.
He never was really trying to get us, other than you taking your woman, your wife, to the movies,
Right.
which is, that's usually how that goes. But, I personally, I'm not going to be supporting any more Tyler Perry movies. And like I said, I don't wish him any bad luck, but I'm just not going to, I don't, that's not intellectually stimulating for me. I'm not inspired by that.
Right. And the reason
You
I
know,
want, and one of the main reasons why I actually want to start off with this topic because this was actually one of the first things I actually wrote down when I was taking notes because I want, and this is gonna be for the people who are listening. This is going to set the tone for like the rest of the show because we all this is mostly gonna be about the black community and the things that we go through and the things that we deal with. But I want to talk to you another thing I want to touch. We gonna stay on movies for a second, and maybe you know more about this than I do because I have it, and this is one of the main reasons why I want to have you on the show because I was telling Jay like about some of the conversations me and you be having, and I was like I had to get him on the show because a lot of stuff you put me onto, a lot of things that me and you speak about. Sometimes I don't know, and I have to go back and look things up and stuff like that. which is always good that you can always learn from other people, especially your own people. And
Absolutely.
the movie Detroit. Did you see the trailer for it?
I've seen the trailer for it, and it's intense. Um, I would love to. That's something I'm gonna have to research just to fact check because it sounds like a story within the story. I know of the race riots in Detroit, but it sounds like there's something else that happened that is a story that isn't told, or maybe they're just taking creative license and writing something in that may not have happened. I'm not sure, but that one looks. That's an intense preview. The previews I've seen have been very intense.
Right. And for the people,
And
yeah, I just want to say real quick, like for the ones who don't know, the movie Detroit, from what I'm reading right here, is mostly about when, like you say, when the rioting and the civil unrest in Detroit. This happens in the summer of 1967.
so this is the 4-year anniversary.
Right. Well, yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And these are the type of movies we actually need to go support because it's telling a story that, see, I don't even really know that much about it, but just looking at, like you say, the trailer is intense, and it really caught my attention because first of all, it's our history, and even though I'm not from Detroit, it brought me in like, okay, I gotta check this out. you know,
Right.
I got to check it out. I mean, we probably like review it or whenever it comes out, and like it's starring John Boyega. I think he was in the Star Wars movie,
Star Wars.
and
Right. Force Awakens.
right, and it looked like it's gonna be a great movie. But not only that, I want to talk to you about this here, but for the ones who don't know, this film is actually directed by a white woman named Catherine Bigelow.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of the controversies behind it. And it's like, well, can a white director tell a good story about black people in our history?
That's an age old question because they've been doing it whether they've been telling it good or not. They've been doing it. And for instance, Nat Turner movie, The Birth of a Nation.
Right.
Went to see it. Produced, written, directed by Nate Parker, a brother.
Mm-hmm.
Had potential, but I felt like either a lot of I thought the majority of the movie should have been the rebellion, the actual rebellion where black people took their own destiny in their own hands and put in that work.
Right.
And I think that part might have lasted 15 to 20 minutes.
Man, to be honest with you, it seemed like a lot less than that. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Right.
It seemed like a lot less than that.
You got a lot of the same old slavery, and you only got a few minutes of the heroic actions of the great Nat Turner, which I feel like it's almost like it was like a bait and switch. They give you this movie, which the story needed to be told, long overdue, but then they water it down.
Right, and it seemed like they like, speaking of Birth of a Nation. 'Cause I saw it twice. Well, actually three times, but the first time I saw it, I couldn't because something happened.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Right.
And but it just seemed like, okay, like you said, we needed more part of the rebellion part, but it seemed like they focused more on the love story a lot too.
True.
Which of course you don't mind that part, but like you said, we could have cut some of that out, got more of the rebellion. I think that would have made that movie a whole lot better. But when you have studio involvement, they're not gonna let you kill but so many white people in the movie.
And these are facts.
And that's
unless you fund it, yeah, for the mere fact that they were ranting and raving about it. I forget which film festival. I think it got great reviews. I was like, okay, if they like it, then it's not probably not authentic, or it's
right.
Not what we gonna like.
Right. And I, but yeah, but let's jump back to like what we the question I first proposed to you. Well, like okay, and this is a white woman, let alone a white man. This is a white woman
Right.
directing this movie, and people already in Hollywood. Not only do black people have minorities have problems breaking through, but I mean women have problems breaking through, too, especially women directors, black or white.
True. True.
So how do you really feel about like a woman like her even getting this shot to do it? I don't even know where she's from California, but you know what?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Spike Lee wanted to do this movie first, but he couldn't get
Wow.
the funds to do it.
Right. I didn't know that.
Right, and I know a lot of people had a problem. He had a issue with it, and I think it was Spike Lee. I can try to uh let's see, fact check that because I just want to put that out there. But I could have sworn it was Spike Lee, um, who actually had to try to do it first. He had a problem with it about like she was able to do it, and they give him a hard time when he wanted to do it. But the thing is, and they probably feel more comfortable. Somebody like Spike Lee with that story probably her version may be watered down compared to what he was gonna do. Because
True.
yeah, because it is Spike Lee, and like I said, it's a lot of backlash behind this here because and I understand it. I understand it. Like I mean, how many black directors you see telling a bunch of white historical stories? It's not that many.
Right.
But then on the other hand, you got people saying, well, at least the story's being told. Can we just focus on like how you feel about that? Like versus can you separate that the fact that a white person, a white woman, matter of fact, directed this movie, like you say, because you still want to see it. See, when you watch the trailers, you don't know who directs the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But based off the trailer, you say you want to see it. So you feel like
Well,
you can separate the
actually,
two?
I didn't say I wanted to see. I said it was intense and
Oh,
it
okay.
looked.
Okay.
So it was a powerful trailer, but I don't know if I want to see it
Oh,
because
okay.
I think these movies like these stories need to be told, but there's certain the way they tell them, the way they uh, project the images, is not. I don't think they tell it in a way that we can necessarily be proud of. Like, for instance, when I remember in Boys in the Hood, the most as good a movie that was, the most I guess riveting scene in that movie is when Ricky gets killed,
Yeah, that's true.
and they do the close up, the slow motion, because they're imprinting that on your psyche. Um, I to this day still have a hard time, 25 years later, 26 years later, watching that scene.
Mm-hmm.
um, so when I see that trailer, I see what appears to be a brother look like he's gonna be set up for the murder of some other black people, which I don't know the story. But like I said, it's powerful, it's intense. It's almost like it's a sidebar from the actual Detroit riots. It's something that happened within the riots, a story
That's
that
what
was been
exactly.
told,
Exactly.
much like everything. Even with Katrina, we heard about the police killing black people in Katrina. Um, that I guess it's something similar to that. I didn't mean to go too far off subject, but I don't know if I want to see it because it's been a lot of movies I went to see with the expectation, but then you get these scenes like that. Even in Birth of a Nation, when they killed the white antagonist in the movie, that was a victorious moment. But when they hung the some of the heroes and sheroes that fought, when they hung them, or they just was hanging black people in general in that movie to, I guess, getting that turner to turn himself in, which I don't even know if that was historically accurate about. them trying to get him to turn himself in, or was he actually captured? They
Right.
slowed it down and zoomed out very slow. I remember that. Whereas when the whites were killed, it was real quick to the point. But it's like when the blacks, these black heroes who fought for their freedom were killed, it was like they slowed it down and panned out so it would be a bigger impact on your psyche than seeing those whites killed. So it's just things like that that may seem small, but your subconscious mind doesn't miss anything, and that's really what these movies are made to do is plant symbols and images in your subconscious mind. So I'm not sure that I want to see it. It's very interesting, but it's almost like I feel like we've been fooled by previews before, and you get certain things you didn't sign up for certain movies, which that's kind of part of the deal. You don't know what's in the movie. That's why you go see it.
Right. Right. And like I said, I probably will see it because we like review movies on the website. But before I do, I know for sure I'm probably like research it just so I can find out much as I can what really happened versus what's going to happen in the movie. But from what I read,
Right.
like real quick, he supposed to like surround the death of like three black men and nine others supposed to be the beating of nine others, which includes seven black men and two white women, and that alone does it. It's not go. Does it even feel like it's going to turn out right for them?
Right.
Because the fact is that it's two white women there. So
Right.
right, so we'll see. And like I say, I'm gonna check it out. But we go ahead and move along. And I would before we get started, we got because this week alone haven't been the best week for like black celebrities, right? Uh,
Hmm.
it just hasn't. A lot of things be coming out from Usher allegedly giving a woman herpes to Kevin Hart getting caught cheating in public, which was stupid, and
Hmm.
but I want to focus on Michael Vick and what he had to say about Collin Kaepernick because we spoke about this offline, and he for the people who don't know, Michael Vick went on Fox Sports One, and was saying that he was saying like saying the things that a lot of uppity white people was already thinking, which was that Colin Kaepernick should cut his hair. He pretty much saying that it's threatening to because I guess because he got the big afro. For people who don't know Colin Kaepernick, he's the former quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. If you keep up with that kind of thing, if you keeping up with the football players kneeling, it had a lot of attention last year. So if you hadn't even heard of it, I don't know where you've been because it was literally
Right.
it was everywhere, right?
Couldn't escape it.
You really couldn't. And but now we have a former NFL quarterback Michael Vick coming out saying that man, this guy should cut his hair. He shouldn't. Was Michael Vick saying that he's too? Is he look threatening? I mean, that's pretty much what he was trying to say.
I think Michael Vick is reaching for straws, uh, trying to get on the good side of the NFL brass. I guess trying to get that black ball lifted up off of him so he can get another shot. Um, it's amazing of all the people that could speak on Colin Kaepernick and what he needs to do to get back into the NFL. Michael Vick chimes in. I mean, this brother's been apologizing since he got out. He's paid his debt to society. I mean, at some point, for him, he needs to draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough. Man up, be a man, and stop being so weak. I know that's kind of off topic, but I'm just going to address Vic because he's always apologetic. He's always he's if that was the case, he would be back in the league. He would still be in the league.
Right.
It's just about cutting hair. It's about imagery. It's like when the police kill unarmed, innocent black people, you hear other black people say, well, he shouldn't have been sagging his pants. He shouldn't have had on a hoodie.
Right. That's
you heard that with Trayvon Martin.
Exactly.
Well, why, if it's February, it's generally chilly, even down there in Florida, why wouldn't he have on a hoodie?
Right.
Why wouldn't, you had in the 30s and 40s and 20s, you had black men and women well dressed to the teeth, 3-piece suits, still lynched, still hung. It does not matter.
Right.
Michael Vick he showed his ignorance or lack of understanding when he came out his mouth with he needs to cut his hair. Bro, his braids was down his back at one time.
Right, and that's what seems like people forget.
Now you got the low cut Caesar and nobody wants to touch you. So you're a walking contradiction, bro.
Right. I mean, we remember Michael Vick with the braids at the peak of his career.
At the peak of his career,
he had braids. Let's not forget this.
Cornrows, right? He said he wasn't shaving. He wasn't cutting his hair till he won a Super Bowl. I remember what he said.
Right, but then we all know Michael Vick backstory. He got in, got caught fighting dogs, and I think he did 18 months, if I'm not mistaken, 18 to 21 months.
I think it was 23. Was it 23 months? It was okay. It was almost 2 years.
Yeah, because he missed 2 seasons, and he got out. He was given another chance, and I guess he cleaned up his image. I don't know who was in his ear, but now he trying to. He's Michael Vick is saying the things, advising Collin Kaepernick to do things that somebody who got in trouble, that he's giving advice to someone, like advice you would give to a criminal.
Exactly.
Collin Kaepernick did absolutely nothing wrong. The country is based off freedom of speech and things of that nature, where it allows him to express how he really feels. And the fact that the majority don't like that he was kneeling, but they wasn't paying attention to the cause. And if you think about it, we knew because last year, I think even last year around this time during the summer, maybe the month of June and July, I think within a week or two span, we had like 3 or 4 African Americans get shot by police around this time last year. So that's why he did it.
Almost a year to the day, right?
Exactly. So, and like I said, he was doing nothing wrong. And the people, that lets you know you don't care nothing about the cause because you chose to overlook. When people don't agree with something, they completely overlook the details. They don't care. Just like he's kneeling, he's unpatriotic. Is it I mean, we already know it's unlawful for police to kill people. I thought it was protect and serve. What happened? I don't know what's going on here. So I mean, and especially because when you have certain white people who look at Collin Kaepernick, and then when somebody of Michael Vick's status, and he's not the most famous person, but he's well known. When he come on TV and say these things, and then they go look at it, it's like, well, you see, even they feel that way about him. So I know I'm not gonna change my way. So how you feel about that?
I think it's amazing how here again we have another example of how we don't show solidarity. We don't have a united front. Right. Michael Vick didn't even have to speak on that at all.
He didn't. He
didn't have to speak on that at all. He went out of his way. Nobody even looking for Michael Vick. Nobody checking for Michael Vick, which might be why he said it. This is his chance to get some limelight, to get his name back out there. But it's amazing how it's so easy for us to speak on be critical of each other, especially like you said. It's amazing. He's speaking to him as if he did something wrong. He has done nothing wrong. He was a model player. He had no off the field issues that I know of.
Right.
Like Mr. Vick, who's a convicted felon,
Yeah, he's a
which
convicted felon, right?
which which I still feel like the punishment didn't fit. I won't even call it a crime
It
because
wasn't.
the European or the fathers of whatever you want to call the founding fathers bred the pit bull to fight.
Right.
They bred the pit bull to fight, to kill pigs, to be a brutal killer. And at one time, that was not illegal. They still fight roosters. They still fight roosters in South Carolina. I mean, let's be real. When a hunting dog, a hound dog is no longer fit for service, he gets put down in the woods by a 12 gauge or a rifle.
Oh man,
You
and
know,
you're absolutely right.
but nobody. I don't think I've yet to see a hunter brought up on charges for killing his dog, and I don't think he should be. That's we talking about a dog. I like dogs, but I don't see where a man's career and livelihood and his whole image was supposed to be. He's still paying for it to this day. I think that doesn't add up. That's like ants and elephants on a seesaw. It's unbalanced.
Right.
But then, yet you have no convictions, no prosecutions of police officer after police officer after police officer for killing innocent, unarmed black people. That's which is why Collin Kaepernick refused.
Right. And a lot of people. What you saying?
The verse in the song, there's a verse in the song, I believe it's the second or third verse, that's basically saying why they're at war, to basically defend the acts of slavery that was going on at that time.
Right.
Most people don't even realize the words to the song.
Right. Yes, because I heard somebody else make that same point. But let's play devil's advocate for a second, right? Do you think Michael Vick? Okay, I mean, from the outside looking in, of course, what Michael Vick said was absolutely wrong because, like you were saying, this guy did nothing wrong. The Constitution allows him to do what he did, you know.
Right.
But in the court of public opinion, he was crucified for it, and eventually lost his job. Pretty much, his career is being derailed. I mean, we maybe still got a little window opening and it's closing, but we'll see. But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Do you think like Michael Vick has some kind of inside information where he's going to the public and saying these things because sometimes these people are in the crowd, right? Sometimes they know things that like the public don't know. Do you think that he knows something that maybe he heard around the league, like if he did cut his hair, that he would have a job? And another thing is the cause. And like a two-part question, but is the cause worth? Oh yeah, we know he's made a lot of money, but is it worth risking your livelihood? A lot of people have a problem with that too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Vic. I just think Vic does what a lot of black people do. They think appeasing or appearing less threatening to white society is going to accomplish anything, and it really doesn't. It hasn't yet. I don't know if anybody put that in his ear to say or if that came out of his own mind. For right now, all I can say is it came out of his own mind, which to me it shows his lack of understanding of history and how this country has operated for over really even before it was the United States of America. This was going on. I think what Michael Vick was trying to do, which is there's something from the days of slavery called meritorious manumission, which is where a black person in so-called slavery would do an act of good deeds, I guess looked upon favorably by the white society that would put him in a better position in it socially.
Right.
So say he drops a dime about something that the brothers and sisters are planning to do to improve their chances for freedom, he'll get rewarded for it.
Mm.
So that's what I'm seeing Michael Vick doing. Now
Wow.
today they call it crooning, but that's where that stems from. And it's all nothing. It's almost like you can replay this 200 years, and it's like it's the same kind of climate. It's the same dynamic. A black man criticizing the actions of another black man to get the approval of white society.
So let's say, but let's say, okay, if he did cut his hair, right? If Do you think is it worth it to cut his hair if it'll get him in the league? Do you think that if he did cut it, let's say, like I say, Michael, if he knew some inside information and somebody told him to put it out there that if he cuts his hair, I mean, 'cause we all know these GM, everybody talks to each other. See, and they think, well, if he cut his hair, maybe we gave him a shot. Something like he had to. Let's say he has to give up something. Something was like cutting his hair. Do you think it's worth him cutting his hair because the imagery is important, always important part of the cause, right? So
Right.
is it? Do you think it would be worth it for him to cut his hair just to get his career back on track?
Absolutely not. Because when he took the stand he took, and I don't know the brother, never spoken to him, but all I can think or assume is that he knew the possible ramifications and consequences for his actions.
Right.
And who says that he even, I don't know that he wants to get back into the league. Because if he has taken care of his money and he has it seems as though his principles supersede his need for money or his desire to be in the NFL. Which to me is the biggest lesson to be learned out of all of this. His principles are more important to him than acceptance from either side. Because it's a lot of black people that criticize him. A lot of blacks think exactly how Michael Vick thinking, and a whole lot worse. Then it's a lot of whites who support Collin Kaepernick. It's a lot of whites who I remember reading white soldiers who supported his stance and say that they don't necessarily agree with it, but they support it because that's his right.
Right. And that's what people fail to realize, because you can march for anything, you can protest anything, but as soon as it's something that the majority doesn't agree with, it seems like he's breaking a law or something, which he isn't, right? But like you say, you're right though. A lot of white people do support Collin Kaepernick, and I'm glad you said that, because that's important too. That's important because, like I was saying earlier, majority rules, and they are the majority. So if any cause, you will need other races to back your cause, no matter who you are. It's always good to have the other side, rooting for you or helping you along the way. And I mean, that's go back from years, even with freeing the slaves. It was actually some white people helping slaves hide in their houses and things like that. So